Hi everyone, in this video I just saw a clip of a girl who's narrated that when she was growing up her father never used to be involved in her life, and she used to resent that and felt that she was never close to her father. And then after her father passed away, one day she found some notes in her father's belongings, and in those notes she saw that there were many drafts of notes where the father had written notes talking about how he was wanting to say something appreciative about something she was doing in school, or how her day went, and he couldn't. He also had many cards that he never sent to her with words that never seemed complete to him. So there are many people who do this in the quest for being perfect, and guys in the quest for when they get rejected in life feel that they may not be adequate enough when they write something to their children, or they don't want to emotionally express themselves because they are shy about expressing themselves, or maybe in the past when they had indeed expressed their deeper emotions with some women in their life, they might have been rejected by them. Their own spouse may not appreciate the way in which they write something or they say something, and having been rejected by their spouses or other women in their life, they might have decided, this guy might have decided that even though he wanted to express these emotions regarding his child, he couldn't send those texts and notes and give those birthday cards to his daughter. And this is where I feel guys who are learning to become emotional, who may not have seen this emotional vulnerability in their peers or in their fathers or in their grandparents or other men in the family, doesn't mean that you being uniquely different in expressing your words should be something you should hide from your family. At worst case, the daughter also may not appreciate the words he is writing in those cards, but at the best case scenario, she will really appreciate it, and how the guy had treasured these unwritten unsent cards and kept it in his belongings, and how he had treasured these unsent texts and kept it with him. If he had the courage to send it to her, she would have indeed most probably appreciated it as much as he had appreciated writing it and wanting to give it to her as a appreciation towards whatever she was doing in her life. And another thing that most men don't realize, even if you are raising a daughter who is not genetically related to you, or you're raising a daughter who is genetically related to you, in both scenarios you are given a daughter for the mere fact that the child is also meant to bring something different in your life. You would not be given a child in your life if the child was going to bring the same kind of disappointments or emotional communication related problems, or past relationship related repeat issues in your life. Because usually when a new life is being given to you, either in the form of a biological daughter or an adopted daughter or a stepdaughter, at that time realize that that daughter has been brought in your life in order to fill that gap that only a daughter is meant to fill. And that's why this appreciation that the man is seeking, maybe if he writes such birthday cards to his wife and his wife is not as appreciative, it's possible that because the wife is not as appreciative, in fact the daughter might be even more appreciated. Or if the wife has passed away, and that's why after the wife passed away, the husband, maybe before the wife passed, he knew how to express himself better because the wife was complimenting him to express himself better. But now that the wife is gone, he's not able to do it as effectively. Even at that time, when even if it is a imperfect card that is, or a broken card, or a card that is seemingly autistic or something, even that would be appreciated by the daughter, because as I said, when you have a child, the child is brought in your life in order to bring something different in your life. So that's why I would urge most men, especially those who are emotional in nature, who are sentimental, that they should express themselves to their children, because it matters. When you express your sentimental side to your children, you not only create the avenue for a deeper bond to happen with them, but you would also see that if this dad, let's say he had, a collection of 10-15 birthday cards that he never sent to his daughter, the first or second time he may have given her a card, it may not have been perfect like what she would like, but by giving her a card every birthday and by writing to her on her birthdays, he would have himself slowly started improving. He would have understood from her responses and reactions what it is that she really appreciates in cards, and he would have improved much sooner in life than all these hidden regrets of half written cards, inexpressed emotions towards his daughter. So that's why it's important that when we are feeling an emotion, we should express it towards the person we are feeling it towards. And it's also important to understand the value of a rejection as well. Many a times the people who get rejected, like let's say there are so many men who want to express their feelings towards a girl that they want to date, or they are friends with someone and they want to express it and they don't want to ruin the relationship. But the relationship, they don't understand this, that the relationship is already actually ruined if you do not if the girl has platonic friendship towards you and you do not have platonic feelings towards her. It's already ruined. You're just not realizing it, how it's ruined, but it is ruined. And so the further you take a non-platonic relationship into a platonic zone, you end up harboring resentment towards the person can end up slowly picking up the signs of you not being platonic towards them, and they could also end up harboring some negative emotion. Whereas when you're authentic with someone whom you are friends with simply because you don't want to be platonic with them, but you want to build a comfort zone first before approaching them for dating or something, I feel this is a strategy that works only if you are okay with a girl rejecting you or a girl being platonic with you for the rest of your life. If you're okay with that kind of a relationship with her, then approach and become her friend. Otherwise, do not make a friendship into something like, do not become friends with someone with the intention of dating them in the future and then having a dilemma about whether you should date them, whether you should ruin your friendship, or whatever thrill you are getting by just being in their company, whether that company will go away from you now that you've expressed your emotions. Because understand, there are many things that can play a role in a girl's life. If you were meant to fall in love with her and be like a temporary dating partner, that experience will not unfold the longer you take in just being their platonic friend. Because at that time, let's say both of you were interested in being just exploring some friendship first. You were on the same page at that time when you became friends, that you want to explore a simpler level friendship first, and then maybe both of you had this thought that in the future you should date each other. But if one person drags the process of friendship and doesn't express their feelings, then it can become a relationship that can get sour, especially if your intended time with each other was only meant to be a few hours, years, or few months, or a decade or so of quality relationship. Because we have all come on earth to learn something about different aspects of living with each other, and not every love filled relationship is meant to be a lifelong partnership. So even if there are two people who love each other deeply, it is not necessary that that deep love for each other will translate into a lifelong marriage partnership with someone. Or even if you confess your love towards each other while dating, if you have some very divergent life path goals that are meant to manifest in your future, those divergent goals cannot manifest if you were together with each other possibly. So that's why initially you might still, be each other's boyfriend girlfriend for a while, but that relationship could end up going in a different direction after a few years of dating, when that attraction is gone, when that understanding develops why you are not right for each other. So all these understandings can you develop, like if you say a boy has in his mind the hopes that he wants to date a girl, and the girl also has in her mind the hopes that she wants to date this boy. And in India this is very common thing, that's why I'm making this video. But while you think like that, watching movies and think all these things like pyar dosti hai, and it is true that you should have friendship in your love, but if a relationship is truly meant to be a organic, compatible, lifelong partnership, there is a certain smoothness to it that will be there. There will be a certain flow to it, as well as there will be a certain, in the difficult phases and challenges of your relationship also, you will be able to work through the challenges with each other by understanding that you're both having the same goal of wanting a long-term relationship. Whereas, if that particular relationship is not meant to unfold into a lifelong partnership, and the only reason why you two were brought closer to each other is because maybe you never had opposite gender interaction while growing up in your home life, or you had some opposite gender interaction in the family life, but now God is wanting you to have a understanding of the opposite gender interaction in a social life. That's why that social responsibility of a opposite gender relationship is unfolding for you in the guise of a friend. And at that time, if you are not holding expectations or not holding ego, that just because you are interested emotionally in someone, that they should also be equally interested in you, then you can end up with more balanced approaches and perspectives about the opposite gender, and you will not hold these bitterness about women using you and things like that. Same way with women also, because women also sometimes do the same thing. They hold the expectation about a relationship from someone who may not be ready to be in a relationship with them, and at that time we can end up holding resentment against that person. But maturity is in understanding. Maturity and evolution of a relationship is in understanding that sometimes some relationships were simply meant to be just friendships. Sometimes some relationships were meant to be friendships plus a little bit of exploration of a girlfriend boyfriend relationship. And those that were meant to be friendships, if you have fallen in the friendship zone, most of the time, unless you are being urged by the universe, or you feel deeply in your heart that this is a relationship that is meant to unfold into a romantic relationship, remember that if that girl has said most of the time clearly that they do not want a romantic relationship, pushing for the romantic relationship is not fair to that friendship. Or if you feel like pushing for it, it would be better if you stay out of their life rather than be long term friends with them. Because at that time, if you are staying out of their life and if they did have romantic feelings for you, something different will unfold. And if you stay out of their life and they do not have romantic feelings for you, something different will unfold, and both of which will teach you whether this was just simply meant to be a platonic friendship like relationship, a platonic friendship where for her it was platonic possibly and for you it wasn't platonic. But again, there are going to be many people in the world whom you will feel attracted towards romantically and sexually, but it doesn't mean that if there are 10 women in the world that you feel attracted towards, that you should be having a romantic relationship with all of them. The reason why you are given those 10 different relationship potential to explore is because firstly, some of those experiences might be simply for you to have a dating experience with them. just to understand what is your basic comfort zone with a woman, what kind of a woman's personality works for you, what kind of a woman's personality is. While at a friendship level they might be very compatible friends, but at a relationship level they might not be good partners for you, and you may not be good partners for them. So that's why you're given this potential of 10 different people you might be attracted towards, out of which five would be an absolute no for you, and the other five, there might be two who might be perfect for you and three who might be average for you. But for you to understand who is an absolute no, who is averagely okay for you, and who is exactly what you're looking for, in order to understand these differences, only why people tend to date earlier, for a while, to understand their friendship level, to understand their comfort level with each other, and also why you should also face rejection in relationships. So out of those five women who are absolutely incompatible with you, if three say no to you and two you say no to, there's nothing wrong with that, because women also should have the right to say no. And in fact, in general, earlier in society, when men are a larger in population number, at that time women have to have the prerogative to say no to men, because when there are more men who are accessible to them at that time, they tend to have the power to say, mm, to be the one to say no more, because they should execute that. Otherwise they might end up with choosing, if again for a woman also, if there are 10 men and there are 5 that they understand are not good for them, and there are 3 that they say no to, that is because they know absolutely in their heart that there's something in this relationship dynamics that's not working or workable for them, right? So that respect of another human being's space is also very necessary criteria people should understand, which when we watch many Hindi movies or Hindi TV shows, this respect towards women saying no is not always present in our movies and TV shows, where it usually the no is romanticized and fictionalized into yes in the future in those romantic movie shows. And while it makes for an excellent plot in TV shows and movie shows, in reality, hearing a no is a very important experience for every human being, because in that no, you understand yourself better. In that no, you understand another human being better. That no gives you the capacity to understand deeply why you are saying no to each other. And then in that no then can be the stepping stone sometimes towards your improvement, because sometimes, like let's say there's a man who was meant to meet 5 women in his 20s who were meant to say no to him, because, or he was meant to say no to them because of the absolute incompatibility in life partnership goals. That no is needed for people to understand the value of no, both from respecting a woman when the woman says no, and both about respecting yourself enough to understand that even if you are good friends with someone, it's not necessary that you should have a romantic relationship with them. So if a woman approaches you, you should also have the right to say no to them. And then in your late 20s, let's say you meet another 2 3 women who have the potential to be right kind of partners. Again, you can date them, but not all simultaneously, but you can take the time to date the one you find the most attractive and the most enticing or compatible with you for a while, to understand whether that again that person is the right person or not. And there's no guarantees in life, that's why you will never know whether the one whom you are finding really very compatible with you, or a good match with you, whether they are your average life partner match or optimal life partner match. That guarantee can only come when you bring God into the equation of your marital decisions and choices, or when you take the time to understand your soul deeply and understand another deeply, and take the time to again respect another human when things don't go well with them, respect yourself when things are not going well with them. At that time you can have this maturity to understand when a relationship is right for you, whether it is not right for you, if you have been dating each other for a few years, or after having married also, when sometimes people need to realize this, but this can happen in some marriages where while the marriage was a very good quality marriage for 5-10 years, you were maybe only meant to learn something about relationship parameters with each other, which you might not have learned from your parents. Because like how this dad was very in this letters that he was writing to his daughter, in the cards he was writing to his daughter, he never sent and expressed his emotional feelings to his daughter, right? So the this kind of men are very common around the world, or these kind of women are also there in the world who do not express themselves emotionally to their children, to their spouses. So when such men and women are raising kids, kids grow up in families where they do not know healthy emotional expression in between parents or grandparents or relatives. So when you have grown up in families like that, at the time you do not know what is a healthy mode of balanced relationship or a functional relationship that should exist with a partner, what is a deep loving relationship that is meant to exist with a partner. And let's say that is what you came to learn as a higher purpose in your life. Then at that time when you get married to someone and stay married to them for 5-10 years, that 5-10 years was the grounds of understanding the opposite gender in a more deeper way. Because obviously if you're dating someone for 1-2 years, you do not get the whole insight about what it means to live with a woman or live with a man, that in deeper insight of what it means to live with a man daily and constantly, and when you're facing life's ups and downs, that thing unfolds only when you are in a longer relationship with them. And that's why if after 5 years you realize this was a good relationship but again it's not working out for you, that that's when it is important to be able to have this give yourself the freedom to release that partner slowly. How much ever you deeply love them, that release is important, because if you don't release them in the right way, if you do not understand the value they had in your life, like people also don't understand that when you divorce someone or break up with someone, that means that the love wasn't true. That is actually most of the time really false perception, because divorce or separation or someone leaving you for another person doesn't mean that they didn't really love you. But what it means is they just didn't love you in the same way as which you deserve to be loved, and you are not able to love them in the same way as they deserve to be loved in their daily life. So understand that if your partner asks for a divorce or a separation, or even after 10 years of marriage, it can become a very shocking experience for someone. But that shocking experience is needed, because in order to understand that while you didn't learn in your family life how deeper connections can be built for whatever reason, you could have had a single parent household, you could have had parents who were not compatible with each other, you could have had parents who were abusive with each other and you, and as a result you didn't know how what it means to have some stability in life. So that's why God gave you that partner with whom you were stable for 5-10 years, because God, or 5-10 or even sometimes 20 years, that stability was needed for you to that stability that you didn't get while you were growing up, or the emotional connection that you needed that wasn't present in your life while you were growing up, was present in your life with your husband, with your in-laws. Like in Indian society, this is more common. You will get to experience it with your husband and in-laws family, right? Or with your wife and in-laws family. And that's why also we will see there are many men and women, even though they are actually not having a very perfect marriage with their spouse, but let's say if they have a very good relationship with their mother-in-law or father-in-law or both, sometimes they continue their marriage with their spouses despite not having a good quality marriage with their partner. And they continue simply because if they have children, then raising the children with good mother-in-law and father-in-law in your life helps out. Or if not just helps out, but let's say you didn't have good emotional connection with your parents, or you just had one parent, and in your in-laws home you have both set of parents, so you get to see that bonding, and you wish that bonding to be present in for your kid as well in their kid's grandparent. So that's why also many people end up staying in toxic or conflict filled marriages for a longer term. And at that time though, after 10-20 years though, if one or the other spouse finally realizes, or has been, both of them have been waking up that this is not a compatible relationship but being a long term marriage, both are also reluctant to let go of such a relationship. At that time, while it is difficult to let go of such relationships because you don't know what is there on the other side of the divorce, definitely, and many people want to stay stuck with the devil they know than the unknown thing that they don't know of what will happen if their life didn't have their spouse in their if they didn't have their spouse in their life, right? So at that time, yeah, you can go for counseling to see whether this relationship is workable. You can ask start having more connection with God to understand if God can help you in deciding whether this is the right path to take for you. But also again, understand if there are two partners, if you are in the conflict phase of the relationship and both of you are confused whether how to make it work, that is the time when God, counselors, therapists, other friends, or family's interventions can help you manage the relationship better. But when one spouse has already decided that this is not something they want anymore, and they have separated from their partners, or they are filing for divorce, at that time, while it might be a shock for the other spouse, because there are times when 2-3 times you can break up from a long term relationship and come back again and break up again and come back again. But during that final break, when one partner breaks of the relationship, it can become a very much shocking thing to the other partner, because they were used to the breaking up coming back cycle again and again, whereas the partner who broke off, they were finally deciding that they can't drag on this 10-20 years of relationship any further. So because of which the relationship can then end with the partner who is finally taking the step to break off the relationship, initiating a separation or a divorce legally. And at that time, the other partner can get very shell shocked or feel very betrayed that how did this happen, or because to them nothing significantly different seemed to have happened when the divorce proceedings started. But while nothing significantly different might have unfolded, there's always a time when you never know when it is the last fight you will have with some partner, because everyone has their threshold of what they can tolerate, what they can take, what they can accept, how much they can take, how much they can accept, what they can carry forward after a fight, and what they cannot carry forward anymore. And at that time only usually these kind of divorces end up happening between people, especially if you had been trying to patch up things between you for many years, but none of the things that were being attempted to create a patch up was working for the partners. And that's why only it is again very important that if you are fighting with your spouse also, if you don't know how to recover after the fight, to say caring words, loving words, and do loving things for each other, that is when also relationship starts becoming toxic and abusive, or very much stress and conflict filled, because the repair is not happening in the relationship after every fight or after every conflict filled area. And not just repair and recovery is not happening, sometimes when deeper conflicts are there, better resolutions are also needed. But many a times partners don't repair it, don't recover well from the relationship, neither are they ready to resolve the next stages of their life meaningfully. So then that's when the relationship becomes exhausting as well for partners. And that's why, remember, irrespective of whether the person you love is dying, is separating from you, or might divorce you. You never know what tomorrow will bring in your life. And that's why, if you ever feel emotionally attached to someone, if you ever miss someone, if you ever get the feeling that you should express your love towards someone, take the time to pick up the phone and send that message, or call them, or send them a note that you wish to send them, because you don't know whether the person will die the next day. You don't know whether all the years of things you wanted to say to your spouse but you couldn't say because you was fighting over something with your spouse, and tomorrow you will never get that opportunity to say it to them anymore because they are leaving you, or you never know whether they will simply separate from you and move to a different country. You just don't know what will unfold next with them. And because you don't know what will unfold next with them, it is always better to express what you want to express than repress your emotions. Because at worst, when you express your emotions, what will your spouse or partner or child or parent do when you are expressing it? Sometimes if they are emotionally avoidant, or because you're suddenly doing it and you may not have done it in a long time with any of these people, they might feel, is something going wrong with you, are you okay? Or someone might laugh at you for saying something in a very tacky manner, or something that seems funny to them. That's all that is going to be. A little bit of your ego might be bruised, a little bit of your attempt might seem as if it's getting disrespected, but when in reality it is not the attempt that is getting disrespected or made fun of, or people might be rejecting your advances simply because it's a new thing you are doing. But when it is the new right thing for you, you will also see that in that new right emotional expression towards your children, or towards your partner, or towards your parents, or towards your friends, the people who are now in the same emotional evolution wavelength as you, they need to come in your life. And the people who are not now in a different emotional wavelength than you, they need to leave your life. And that's why also the people who, if you express yourself emotionally to your spouse and your spouse is rejecting that sudden change in your emotional expression, what does it mean? And especially if it is a spouse with whom you have been having a lot of conflict filled relationship years, then it means that that spouse is likely not the spouse with whom you're meant to have a long life partnership. They were simply a spouse who had been meant to come in your life for 10-20 years, for you to learn better how to become a good husband, a kind husband, or a kind wife, or a compatible functional wife with each other. But while you understood some elements of functionality and compatibility and cohabiting with another gender, you also understood, while living with another gender, what is it that your soul needs at a deeper level, that your life needs at a deeper level, which may not be there in that relationship, especially when you are in a very conflict filled zone with each other, or emotional connectivity wise there's something missing. Because usually you will see most marital problems occur, some marital problems obviously at the basic level could be a sexual health related problem, but many other marital problems are related to emotional health, financial health, and mental health related issues. So if your spouse's love language is very manipulative and you are not that manipulative, that can end up becoming a trouble zone. Or emotionally, if you are expressing something and they are not able to express it, that can be a troublesome zone. Or financially, if you are not financially taking care of each other at the appropriate level according to what you both earn, then again it can cause either financial imbalance or financial abuse in a relationship. So these are the other factors that are causing the conflict, and that's why it is important at that time to analyze what it is that you are responsible for, what it is the other person is responsible for, And in many modern women's cases, many women expect a man to say more. Many of us want a deeper emotional connection with our family, but we don't tend to get that when men are haven't been taught that in their family life, or when they do attempt to express their emotions, they get reluctant or hesitant, or when they can't find the right words, they are like how I am, stumbling and stuttering in between when I'm not remembering the right words. That can happen to us, but people also don't realize that these stumbling, fumbling, stuttering can be something very endearing to a partner as well. So if your wife is laughing at you, or your parents are making fun of you, or your kids are making fun of you, while they might do that 1 or 2 times, if they truly love you, they will all accept you with these flaws, or with these broken attempts in deeper emotional expression. And if they are ready to evolve with you, they will also slowly evolve along with you in becoming more emotionally involved in their expressions as well with you. Whereas if they are not meant to evolve with you, like let's say your friends are making fun of you suddenly because you've become maybe a little bit more poetic, or you've written them a gift card, a birthday card that you never used to give them any birthday cards earlier, or you'd written them a sentimental note for celebrating some special occasion which you didn't used to do earlier. At the time, while they might be puzzled about it, or they might make fun of you about it, again, if those friends are meant to evolve along with you in your emotional journey of evolution, emotional journey related evolution, those people also slowly might get influenced by you, and they will all evolve slowly with you. Whereas if there are certain people who are at an emotional expression level where it's still harder for them to express emotionally all these things that you are attempting to express, or if it is very they are still emotionally avoidant and are not ready to mature up, then you have to let those people go from your immediate zone of deeper connections, and that will naturally only happen based on how you will end up interacting with them. But this also is necessary. Why? Because if out of 5 friends there are 3 friends who are not in alignment with you anymore with your emotional development, and those 3 friends have to now get away from you in your life. Why? Because in our modern busy lives, we don't have that much time to interact with a lot of people. If people are workaholics, or people have a busy work life and home life, at that time in their social life there are only a limited social circle that we usually end up hanging out with occasionally, once a week or once a month, in parties, celebrating friends birthday parties, or going to friends kids birthday parties and things like that. But those friends who are not emotionally walking the same journey as you, why do you have to let them go? So that other people who can be walking the same emotional journey as you can now enter your life. So for example, if you were the first person in your friendship group to have a child, and rest of the people, couples in your group don't have children, at that time they will not be at the same level as a couple with a child. So initially maybe there will be a few friends who are thinking of getting pregnant, and then when they are pregnant, they will be also having a child. So you will have these common interests to talk about, common emotional things related to child raising to discuss. Whereas there will be other friends who do not have any kids, who want to be couples without kids, and slowly you will see those couples without kids will phase out of your life, where initially maybe if you were hanging out once a month, now maybe your once a month hanging out might become once a year hanging out, because that is a natural progression where some separation starts happening according to the group in which you belong to. That doesn't mean that you completely ignore that friend who is single, or ignore that friend who is only interested in dating and doesn't have any kids, but it simply means that every phase of our life has a different evolution we have to go through, and we cannot go through that different evolution of emotional maturity, or when you have kids, it's also about financial responsibility, responsibility related to child caretaking. So all these different evolution that is happening in your life is meant to unfold in a particular way. And for those single people also, when they are single, they are meant to now maybe interact with some other single people from other professions, or other form a different friendship circle now of single people from around across the globe possibly, or they're meant to do certain things as a single person that they can't do if they are mostly hanging out with families with kids. So I hope this made sense, and I know I started it off as a emotional expression related video, but emotional expression, if and I went and diverged into other topics as well. But the main thing is, emotional expression is a key need right now in our modern society, because lack of emotional expression, lack of deeper connection is the reason why we don't usually have deeper connections with our family, friends, social groups. And when you do not have that deep level connection of deeper emotional expression, deeper emotional connectivity with someone, that is when we become a fractured society, depressed society, a less trust filled society, a society that is more ready to do war than make peace. And peace cannot be made with people who are not on the same wavelength as you. So in order to bring people to the same wavelength as you have to express yourself. If you don't express yourself, how will you understand sometimes whether they are the right wavelength as you? And after expressing yourself, when you realize who is the right wavelength as you and who is not the right wavelength as you, then only you can find your soul tribe, then only you can find that deep meaningful soul purpose related connections that will then help you enrich your life and help you stick together in a cohesive unit of group of friendships, or group of family relationships, group of work relationships, a group of community relationships, because these are all necessary in binding us together, in bringing collective changes in our lives, the collective changes that are appropriate to the changes everyone has to go through in their life as we are aging, as our children are aging, as our partnerships are aging, as our family and parents are aging. Because in each of these dynamics, as we are aging in our work life, because each of these brings a different element of evolution in our life, depending on where we are focusing on, what we want to focus on, where we want to go in our life. So I hope this was meaningful and insightful. And if anyone has any questions, comments, please drop a question, comment, or anything you might wish to share about what you feel, why emotionally people should talk more, or why men, I would like men to answer this, or those people who are introverts, I would like them to answer why are they so shy in expressing themselves. Because I have a because, and maybe if you reply your whys, I might reply back to you. So I would love to hear from everyone about this, as to what is the blockage that keeps them from being authentic, and why is it harder for them to let go of the fear of hearing a no, hearing someone laugh at you, hearing someone reject your first attempts. Because remember, like, writing something to someone and expressing something beautifully to someone is also something that comes with practice. Like, have you seen Shah Rukh Khan on movies? He is such a romantic expresser of emotions, not because the first time he made Bazigar or Dar, he had a stutter in some of his movies. Why? Because of the fact that he also possibly found those dialogues very funny and not natural to him when he was in his 20s. But slowly, slowly, as the more he practiced doing this, he became more expert at expressing something, and this is something he's doing on screen. But now imagine, and this is what seeing him on screen, many women expect that their spouses should express to them off screen in their personal life. But why is that expression necessary? That expression is necessary simply to build an element of care in your life with your partner. And it's no one is expecting you, like 100 years back when our grandparents didn't used to have gift cards to give us or write notes to us in for birthdays. At that time, what were our grandparents doing? They were expressing their love and care in a different family oriented way. So it's also something men might want to re-examine about their relationships, that it's not simply that women expect a husband to write something beautiful for them, or a daughter expects that the father will write a birthday card or speak emotionally with her. But if you are emotionally expressive towards expressing your deeper thoughts with your and emotions with your daughter or wife, at that time they are also then more free to express themselves with you. And when the freedom to express yourself authentically exists in a relationship, that's the time when true bonding can occur with each other, right? So that's why it is important to do this. And like how even an actor needs time to practice some of those flowery dialogues, same way a husband or a father or a son has to simply practice it. It will take time. The first few times you will do it might seem funny or off, but it's just a muscle memory that will be you will become better at, especially because when you express yourself in a particular way based on another human being's response to you, you can then attune your wordings slowly according to the person you are expressing it to. So like with your dad, how you have to emotionally express something deeper with your dad might be slightly different from how you need to do it with your mom, might be slightly different from how you need to express something with your daughter, how you need to express something meaningful with your son. For each of them, based on their personalities and your core fun or meaningful times, quality times with them, is where the quality expression and quality experience gets generated with them. Again, I hope this made sense, and I would love to hear your questions, comments, and anything you would like to share in the comments. Thank you very much. Have a great day.